God's garden oasis, where every bloom is perfect. God sees us not just as we are, but as we will be. God's garden oasis, where every bloom is perfect. God sees us not just as we are, but as we will be.
Hi. Do you have friends who are really different from you? A friend Terry who uses a wheelchair, and I've had friends with visual impairments. I'm deaf in one ear, and so that makes me different from some of my friends. You know, that whole piece of being different, we also call diversity. And right now, our country is really struggling with the idea of diversity. But God created us as diverse people, looking different, being from different locations. And so for him, diversity is not a bad thing. And he doesn't necessarily want us to look at the outside. He wants people of one heart who will love him and his son, Jesus Christ. I'm Nancy Hammond. This is God's Garden Oasis. In the dictionary, diversity just says it's a variety of unlikeness. Okay. I like a diversity of books to read. I like a diversity of colors for clothes. But sometimes I also really like sameness, because sometimes sameness can make me feel a little safer. I don't know. That's a challenge sometimes for me. But I love what God says in his word. In Exodus chapter 12, verse 38, we see that the people of Israel were sent out by Pharaoh. And it says that it was a mixed multitude of 600,000 people. Wow, that's a lot of people. That's like 6 times how many live in my town. In Acts 17, verse 26, it says, even though we look different, God makes us one. In God, we live and move and have our being in one. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 12 through 30 is a long one. But basically what it's talking about is that the body of Christ, the church, is one body with many parts. Just like I couldn't survive with just my head, or just my feet, or just my arms. I need my whole body, because each part is meant to do something different. And that's true with the church, that each person in the church can be very different from you, but they will play a really important role in God's work. Revelation chapter 7, verse 9 says, a great multitude of every nation, all tribes and peoples and tongues. That's what John was talking about. It's not going to be just one group that looks like me, talks like me, acts like me. When Jesus comes back and brings us to heaven, we will see a multitude of different folks. That is an exciting thought. And it's one that I keep in mind as we struggle today with diversity. Our reading for today is from 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 26. What then, brothers? When you come together, each one has a hymn, a lesson, a revelation, a tongue, or an interpretation. Let all things be done for building up. Let all things be done for building up. We need to be careful that we're not tearing other people apart because they are different from us. We want to be careful that we look at other differences and say, you know what? They are created in the image of God. What does God want for them? And then help build them up. Are you able to see God in people who are different from you? Are you able to look out and recognize that God created them and has a special purpose for their life? I hope that you're able to do that, and I hope that I am able to do that. Well, that's all I have for today. But thanks for joining me here in God's Garden Oasis. Take care.